Okay, welcome to another episode of the Kids Table. My co-hosts are on their way. Peter's pouring a cup of coffee, and I think Trey's almost over here. So I think we're about ready to get this thing going. Today's topics are... Hey Peter, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Take a seat. So today we're having Trey on, and I think he's on his way over here right now. So we're just kind of making this work and see how this goes.
Yeah, hanging out, getting ready for the show.
Yeah, man. So today... I was hoping.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Just got here.
Oh, what's up, Max? Good to see you, man.
Did we start already?
No, we're just getting going. Just getting going.
Okay,
yeah. Trey's gonna be here soon, so I think.
Oh, cool! I love Trey.
He always is fucking running late. I don't know.
Dude, yeah, why is Trey always late?
It's
Whoa. You can't say that about black people.
Oh.
Hey, what I miss?
Hey.
Hey, Trey.
Oh, hey. How's it going, fellas?
Trey, good to see you, man.
Nice to see you, man.
Go around. Oh my God,
Alright,
that's so scary.
Cool.
What's up, man?
We're going over.
So welcome to the newest episode of the Kids Table. The usual crew here with our special guest, Trey Trent.
Hello.
It's good to see you, man. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Of course. It's great to be the first ethnic guest on a podcast.
Oh, you definitely are.
We were actually told we were all at this little gathering.
Yeah, no,
and
it's so good.
Oh my God. So this girl, she said she watched the whole thing and she was just like, well, do you ever think about maybe like, you know, you're all a bunch of white guys. Maybe you need a little more diversity.
This actually happened.
Diversity on the show, like maybe some people of color, some women. And I was like, well, we just are white guys, so it kind of just turned out that way. And she just kind of kept hounding me, but she's like, I think that you don't understand like what it's like about. And I was like, no, you're right, I don't understand. I'm gonna go grab a beer. Could you go find something else to do?
There was this one girl on Twitter, like my senior year, when I got into some weird political argument. And she tried to teach me about white privilege, and I was like, you do realize like I'm half white, sure, but the other half isn't exactly white, but. I appreciated the gesture. It was so sweet. It was so kind.
I just updated the title. So.
Right. Do you do that sort of thing often? Get into political arguments?
Well, no. I need to preface this. I'm not into politics at all. Like, I'm very stupid, actually. And, you know, it used to just be like I'd talk out of my ass, especially in high school, and then people would get mad at, like, shit I didn't even mean. But I've reared back on it a little bit because, you know, no one really fights with people I don't go to school with anymore on the internet.
Yeah.
20. All right, we got Chris Pfaff here, so.
Christopher, what's up, Chris?
The chat. We got Max Helen also. Chat's really.
So I can't see the chat, and I think the stream health doesn't look super good right now. So if the chat could tell us if the audio sounds good and if the stream is functioning properly, that would be really cool. If they're in there right now, do you want to get into the quick topics that we got going?
Quick topics.
So this is a new segment.
Yeah. We're going to need to get like a title for when we do this to pop up.
That'd be dope.
Quick topics.
Yeah. That'd be dope. So should I pull up the first one?
Yeah.
Which one was the first one?
We're about to find out when I hit this key.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys. Let's see what it is.
First topic is Tekashi 6ix9ine.
A god amongst men.
You want to elaborate?
No, I thought other people would have things to say. That was
Okay.
just a quick little... That was my quick take on the quick topic.
You know what? Actually, on the note of race, a Mexican man that loves to say the N-word, you know? Something we need in this society. It's great.
So
it's funny that
good.
as a black man, you say N-word instead of nigga.
He says the nigga word.
Okay.
Soft A.
Soft A.
Yeah,
Soft
Of course. You can't go harder on unless you're dark. Like, you really got to be of the right complexion.
Dude,
to go
you're
that
putting
deep.
me on everything right now.
Wait, so you're telling me you can't even say the hard R?
I'm not gonna say it, but I certainly can.
So you can.
Yeah.
I mean, of course you're physically able to, but you wouldn't.
I'm not gonna say that I wouldn't. I would prefer not to.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
All right, Tekashi. So, what do people think about
His what would like,
I don't know what we got.
I think-
cases coming
I
up
think-
soon.
yeah,
we got antics.
I've
How do they all
heard-
tie together.
I've heard minimum 30 years, maximum life. That's what he's facing right now.
Well, 30 to life would be the sentence.
Would be 29, right? Isn't that 29 to life? Isn't that what that means?
Something.
I thought it was 25 to life.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he
maybe
has two.
25 to life.
There's two big charges. One's a 25 to life. The other's a 7 to life. And so there is a chance he could, get out of the 25 if he takes a plea deal. But that makes him a snitch if he does that. So
Do you think?
I think
do you
he's
think
I
he
think
snitched?
that shit is so dumb.
Dude, I don't.
Yeah, no,
Snitching, like,
it
I
is.
don't want to go to prison.
No, definitely,
I have
that
long
agree.
rainbow hair. They're
Yeah.
gonna take advantage of me.
They would.
I'd
so
rather
quick.
just
I
rat
have
out this guy that
I have a
hang
69
around.
tattooed on my head. Like,
Yeah.
He's
No.
already he's like already a prison bitch.
Yeah.
Like he is a
For sure. The thing is, I think
and it's 69. Like
They might get the wrong idea.
yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I think he's gonna get at least one of them though. So it's
He's gonna get one of the sentences.
I think he's gonna get at least one of the sentences. So I think it's minimum 7, and that's he'd be going in having ratted on people, which isn't a great look when you're going in. So.
Luckily, though, somebody leaked his album. I just was listening to it this morning. Some songs that I hadn't heard prior. I've
Yeah.
heard all the singles, of course,
Mm-hmm.
many times. But
Nice, that's good.
this new album, pretty exactly much. Sorry about not being able to talk.
It's
right
fine. Don't worry.
now. It's exactly what I expected, which is amazing.
Are there some good
It's
features
great.
on it?
Yeah, there's 2 Kanye songs on
Whoa.
it. There's Lil Baby, Gunna, A Boogie with the Hoodie. I think that's his full name.
Yeah, I'm a big A Boogie
that's
fan.
That's his court name.
Yeah.
legal name, A Boogie with the hoodie.
His legal name.
Yeah.
A Boogie with Del Hoodie.
Yeah, but there's oh man,
So it's good.
I'm of the party that thinks that he makes bangers. He's well deserved on that Billboard 10 for 10.
It's high energy.
Like, the thing with him is I hate liking his music. And I wouldn't even
Really?
say that I like his music, but it comes on and you can't just... It is like audio cocaine. It is absolutely...
Audio.
Like, it
content.
just comes on and
Perfect
you are like,
description.
you're ready. Like, for whatever the fuck happens. It's beautiful music. But it's not... It's beautiful music.
It's definitely like hype. Like
Yeah, it's
really
hype as
hype.
fuck.
I didn't love the Nicki Minaj one. I didn't like that one as much as like is Kiki the one with a boogie and Fetty Wap where it's like I
Yeah.
be on the top on the regular.
Yeah.
That song's a schmacker.
That one goes
I'm a
hard.
big fan of that one.
Yeah.
And it's talk about influence. Like A Boogie's like he's huge, right? But his second most played Spotify song is Kiki. Like,
Really?
isn't that insane? So
Wow.
A Boogie is huge. He was like the biggest dude in New York, I guess, before 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
And like 6ix9ine is so big that he makes the top 2 of A Boogie's Spotify plays.
I mean, even
Yes.
Nicki Minaj, she like used one of his fucking songs on her album to like boost the notoriety of it. And
Oh,
then
really?
she got
Fifi
mad at
was on her
Fifi
album?
was on her album. I'm pretty sure. I remember there
It's
was a
all-
whole
'cause it's
controversy.
also on
Yeah.
I think it got thrown as a bonus track on her.
Oh.
And then she ended up getting mad at Travis Scott because he was like
was
using
a-
Kylie Jenner or whatever to fucking promote
Well,
Astro World.
What else was going on there? It was like he was getting some sort of merch sale.
Yeah, so it's
Oh, he was
essentially-
selling his albums with his merchandise.
So
or some
essentially, you
shit,
got a
right?
free digital copy of the album, which no one gives a fuck about because everyone already streamed
Yeah.
it. And so essentially, for each sale he made online, it was an album sale as well. And she got pissed about that, but she'd been doing the same thing, just
Yeah.
her merch just did not sell well at all. And so, I mean, I think it was like half of Travis's first week sales. He sold like 250,000 just off merchandise.
He wasn't.
But it's like
That's
that's how you make sales nowadays. No one's going out to buy albums, and so if you're
Yeah.
giving people a product that they want, then yeah, I think in the way that sales are counted today, that's valid.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it. So Wayne did it, Nicki did it. It's just Travis did it best. So.
Also on
Good
that
point.
sales thing about streaming and all that sort of thing, I heard about you guys know what Napster is?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it was a streaming service, like before streaming services, basically. Actually, no, it wasn't a
It was
streaming
like
service.
LimeWire,
You
right?
download
LimeWire.
music.
Shit.
People would. So when MP3s first came out, there was no way to sell them really.
Yeah.
So people would just upload them, and then you could download them.
Yeah.
What Napster did was kind of compile them all into one spot,
They
so you could
centralized
easily
it.
search for artist, album, all that stuff. And there's a study done. There's a lawsuit that had to do with like Metallica was mad because one of their songs got leaked and was playing on the radio before they released it. This whole big thing, but there was like this research done about people who illegally downloaded music
Yeah.
versus people who legally downloaded it. And in the long run, the people who were illegally downloading music were spending more on music than the people who only legally bought music.
Wait, say that again. I didn't get that.
Well, you shouldn't. When I'm doing this thing, you shouldn't be playing around on it.
I'm setting up the stream, man. I'm setting up the stream.
So people who were found out to be using Napster and illegally downloading all this music spent more on music than people who didn't illegally
Whoa.
download music.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's
They would
kinda
buy more
counterintuitive.
albums in the store. They would buy more concert tickets and all that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people were really mad about it for a while. Like, artists thought they were losing a lot of money. There was a really funny South Park. You guys know
Yeah.
South Park on that? Like,
Mhm.
it's like Britney Spears can't even afford the newest like Gulfwing jet now because of you guys. Like, do you feel
Yeah.
bad yet? Yeah. All right. Next topic.
Yeah,
Shall
let's
we?
do it.
Okay.
Dwight Howard. So Trey, you're gonna have to explain this one to me because you
All
just
right.
put me on this.
Lay it down.
Lay it down. Dwight Howard was, an NBA. He's still good, but he was an NBA superstar late 2000s, early 2010s.
Superman, right?
Superman won a dunk contest. Everybody loved him. He was in Adidas commercials, and then he went to the Lakers. He forced his way out of Orlando. It's called the Dwight Mare, and since then he's been on Lakers, Rockets, fucking Hawks, Hornets, Wizards. He's been on like
He's
five
been on, like,
different
every
teams
team.
since then.
Yeah.
And every time he gets traded, there's a report that comes out. Teammates cheers. Dwight Howard is traded, and he's just become the villain of the league. And that got worse because recently DMs were leaked with a trans woman who had, I believe, an affair, or I guess not an affair. He's got like 9 children and 15 baby mamas. It was like she leaked some DMs pretty much saying that he, or I guess exposing that they had a relationship, and she also said that he threatened her, his team threatened her, and then she went on this legendary tirade. Like, you need to go look at this shit on Twitter, because she goes off on him, and then she's like, "You're a 6'11" bottom bitch," and it just exposes the shit out of him. So he went from one of the most beloved figures in sports at the time in the late 2000s to being exposed as a 6'11" quote bottom bitch unquote.
Did you see John Oliver was making fun of him?
I did. Oh yeah, I think I've seen that.
They were like talking about trades, and
Yeah.
like it was like, you think Dwight Howard's gonna add a 3-point shot to his game at this point? Like, parents don't let your kids be Dwight Howard.
Well, it's funny if it's especially bad that he was the bottom bitch in the scenario.
See, exactly. Like,
If it was just
threatening
a
people-
trans woman, it's.
Well, what has been
Why
his-
not? With that, I'm just wondering, why not just be gay?
Well, okay, so I
Instead
think in
of
one of the
going-
DMs, she was like, do you tell people you fool around with men and trans women? I guess this trans girl, like, threw tran parties. And that sounds really offensive, and I don't mean it to be, but, like, it was just,
Well,
like...
that's what they
I
were.
forget, like, the frig. It was a transphobic frig. It was, like...
orgies.
Yeah, like...
Okay.
So what has his response been to this? Because
I don't think he's really spoken on it. And ironically, actually, like... He missed the start of the season with it started as like a pec injury or something, or like a lower body injury, and then they were...
Lower body
Oh,
injury?
but wait, literally...
What's she packing?
That's the question. And on the first day of the season, just a headline pops up, Howard, in parentheses, but will miss season debut. So I squatted on this take about a month and a half ago. I think Dwight Howard's been getting fucked in the ass and he's missed some time.
Wow.
Whoa.
Interesting.
I mean, it adds up when you look at the
That's
numbers.
crazy.
You connect the dots. He got pegged so hard
That
he
he
couldn't
can't-
play basketball.
he can't do his
He
job.
couldn't go to his job. He couldn't do his work.
Shit.
Well, if you're underperforming, why not just go get railed in the butt by,
Exactly.
by a tranny woman? With trans woman?
Trans woman.
Yeah.
Sorry, the S and the Y, it makes a big difference, I heard.
I guess. See, I'm not a politically correct person, and
makes
that's
a
why
big
I'm being
difference.
careful, because people have gotten on me for saying all this terrible shit in the past, and
Uh-huh.
I don't want to bring that upon your podcast.
Oh, dude.
No, it's
Not
fine.
yet.
We like the beef.
Yeah, yeah.
We like the
We
beef.
love the beef.
No.
Who's got the beef? It's not
Dwight,
our beef.
Dwight Howard in his ass, apparently. All right, so we're trying to get through these really quick so we can get into our feature
let's do it.
topic. But this one is one that I think we could do an entire episode about. But what you guys, okay, this is kind of bad, but essentially what you
Not
guys,
quite work.
well, what you're seeing is North Sentinel Island.
Yep.
And this is, if you guys can't tell up there, they have a 4.6 star rating. It's just so the
Is this
street.
on Google?
This is on Google.
All right.
I guess we could just talk about the whole thing that happened. I don't know a ton about it. So does anyone?
I only heard about it today.
Okay,
As
so
you brought it up before we started.
Yeah.
essentially the basics is this was a Christian missionary
Yeah.
going to make contact with essentially this sort of uncontacted tribe.
Yeah.
So they essentially have zero contact with the outside world, and they've been very clear that they don't want any. So there have been other people who have died trying to make contact with them, and actually this man had gone, I think 3 or 4 other times and tried to communicate with them.
Really?
And at one point actually had been shot with an arrow during it.
I heard it hit his Bible.
So I don't know the exact story, but he had been
Small.
shot at. It's against the law. This is in India, I believe.
It's
correct?
off the coast of like Bengal or something.
It's in the Bay of Bengal.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, it's against the law to go there because it's dangerous for people to do it, and also they've made it very clear they don't want interaction with the outside world. And so essentially, this man has decided that
But they let the outside world govern their land.
no.
Are they cannibals?
They're separate.
No,
I don't
no,
believe so.
I think they're
So-
still sort of hunter-gatherer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's not that they have asked for it to be illegal for people to come. It's just they've been very clear we don't want people here, and so the Indian government has essentially made it against the law. And so if people are trying to do it, you have some sort of legal recourse to stop them before there's any violence.
Okay.
So essentially, this guy has ignored that multiple times and has been trying to spread the word of God and was
Good
killed-
job, dude.
killed last week.
So one thing, I was kind of researching this a little bit the other day, and what I found out was the reason why they don't like people is because, I don't know the exact date, but some time ago, the photos are all black and white, so to give you kind of a benchmark.
Yeah.
So, some explorer, a white man, went to that island, and he was measuring them, he was measuring penis sizes and balls. Serious, and he was trying to he was treating them like a science experiment, and he ended up spreading a ton of diseases because they weren't immune.
Exactly.
And so they killed a lot of their. It's obviously they don't like white people,
It
and
kind of sounds like their fault.
for not being immune
Yeah.
to diseases. I don't think so. I
Yeah,
don't
they
feel
sound a
like
little
that's true.
behind the times.
Well, I
honestly.
think they're a couple 100,000 years behind the times.
Yeah,
So-
so
yeah.
that's one of the reasons why it's illegal to go there, because if they
You
did want
could
to
be
be if they did want to be integrated into society,
They would've
it
by
would not be a hey, just come over to you're not just gonna fly them into Mumbai and send them out on the streets. This is something that if they do decide they want contact with the outside world, needs to be done in a very careful way, because there's things they need to get correct vaccinations, probably the whole sort of thing. They need to actually really be studied to figure out what their immune systems is. So it 100% makes sense. They don't want some random white guy with no medical training showing up with a Bible.
And that scientist guy, the spreading the disease part and wiping out a lot of them, that's really bad.
Yeah.
Measuring them to see if they're if there's anything different about them from not being in contact with other people, that makes sense to me.
Yes, if they're okay
If
with
they're
it.
okay with
If
it,
they don't want you showing up and you're
Well, if he was able to measure them,
Well, it
was
sound-
he subduing them,
No,
or was
no,
he
no.
hey, come
Yeah.
stand in front of my tape measure?
I think
'Cause
they were
that's not that
very
bad.
okay with him being there.
yeah, I think that it more
At
the-
least at 1st.
I think more of the issue is with the health and safety impacts, and also just there is a lot of destructive tendencies. If they want to keep their kind of hunter-gatherer lifestyle, that is very difficult to do when allowing tourists to come in or sort of outside contact in general. So
Yeah, and obviously you would not like white people if the white dude came in and killed a large percent of your population with some sort of disease. You know what I mean? I kind of
Has that
get.
happened before?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, but it's the point. The funny thing about this is that if you search in North Sentinel Island, there's all these really fucking funny reviews on here.
well,
that-
they're well liked. You can see
Yeah,
by
we're
the
clear-
international community.
Yeah.
So.
Let me see if I can yeah, so there's went here with my girlfriend. We were in for a rough we wanted a rough experience, and we definitely got it. The food was really good, my left arm in parentheses.
Have you seen the Google reviews for our high school?
Yeah, I looked through them a little while ago.
Are they
at
not
our
good?
high school.
They're pretty good.
It's
Really?
a
I
mixed
feel like
bag.
we need to.
Yeah, I'll pull it
It's
up.
a mixed
I'll pull it up.
bag. There's some people who are actually writing either good or bad reviews very serious. And there's some people who are so funny that just obviously had a shitty time in high school and are taking it out on Google.
No,
like,
the Google reviews,
Oh,
not the
okay.
website.
My bad.
I don't know how you'd actually find that on
Have you guys ever been to the website Rate My Teachers?
Yeah.
yeah.
Rape My Teachers?
Rate.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misheard you.
Yeah, we're trying to keep this a
Yeah.
kids-friendly
This is
podcast.
the kids table.
Yeah, they're there.
Yes, we have.
Your mouse is on them.
This
Down.
guy's?
No,
Down.
down. Like all those.
33 Google up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh, alright, so breaking news, North Sentinel Island does have a better review than Valley High School on Google.
So it should be noted that they're doing way better than
Oh
us.
yeah, way better. 1.6. Oof.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I think we need to get some more funding. This is clearly a funding issue.
Yeah, definitely. Go through some of these.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's some
let's read
classics
some
in here.
highlights real quick.
Pre-read them and make sure they're not just some
There's
boring
definitely-
actual review.
Yeah, so there's some people who went there in like 2008 and talked about how it was super clicky and they had no social life, and it's like, why are you putting this on Google, man?
I used to go here, but I transferred to Ingram, and now my brother goes here. And from what I've heard about his leg now, it hasn't gotten much better. When I was there, at least some of the teachers are good, like Mr. Thompson.
Okay,
The one
big
under
shouts
this,
to Mr.
way
Thompson.
better.
Do gotta give him that.
Max, you want to take this one?
How y'all pronounce the school name?
Alright, that is a very valid critique.
Well,
One
Ballard.
star.
Yeah,
One
one star. No, like
My experience has not been a pleasant one. I know that too many students that do drugs on and off campus.
that is
That's
true.
true.
Yeah.
Wait,
You're
and
gonna
they
ding
gave
him
it
for
one
partying, bro?
star?
This
Come
one's
on.
pretty good. Best
Fucking
school I've ever
loser.
been to. It sucks and is too white. We need more colors at this school.
Oh my
Oh,
god, that's Jackson Barnes.
Oh.
Oh, you know that guy?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I was really good
Still
friends
5
with him,
stars
like,
though.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good shit,
That's
Jackson.
good
Shit.
school. Best school.
Yeah, I think that one guy who just couldn't pronounce it, I think he really brought down the whole score.
The whole score.
He
Yeah,
could
I think-
probably be up to like a
4 star.
3-2 at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least.
How else would you pronounce Ballard?
Ballard.
That's what I'm like.
Yeah.
That
Ballard.
I don't think
like BJALLARD.
A
Norse
like
school.
a Nordic. A Nordic.
Ballard.
Ballard.
Where are the Ballard sheep
little
weavers?
umlauts above.
Yeah.
the-
Whatever. Sweet guys.
So those were the quick topics.
Those
Yeah.
were our quick topics.
Did we even have a big topic today?
We do have a big topic today, and
Is it
that's
Trey Trent?
why Trey motherfucking Trent is in the house. So Trey, at least I kind of know what's been going on and why you wanted to be here. I don't really have any exact questions other than what's been going on and what do you want to talk about. I'll let you take it from there.
Thank you. I'm gonna go with mental health. That's
Okay.
the real
Nice.
thing.
Yeah.
I've been very open in the past, especially the last couple of years, about where I've been with that, and I kind of want to show, or I guess explain, how I've gotten to this point because it's been something that's kind of derailed my life in a way.
Okay.
When I was younger, I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be this average American citizen, and as I've gotten older, it's just gotten more and more. It's felt difficult for me to just pick something up and go with it. School was fucking difficult for me. I had a weird I don't want to be one of those guys I had such a hard home life. My parents beat the shit out of it wasn't like that, but it was a lot of dysfunction on top of not understanding that that's not normal and a lot of that sort of shit. What brought me here? I saw you guys' first couple episodes, and it's always awesome to see. It is always awesome to see
here.
people, trying something new and creative. Like this is fun, good times.
And guys, for the record, right when we dropped our first episode, he hit me up and he was like, "Keep doing this," and so
that's great.
made me feel really good.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's gonna get better, obviously, as time goes on. Your first episode isn't gonna be your best, but it's fun to see people being creative and doing something a little. I don't want to say a podcast is outside the box because
Not right
a lot
now.
of people are doing it, but it's fun to see people creating content, whether it's a podcast, whether they become a YouTuber, musician. But I guess I'll start with I grew up in Everett, and it gets a bad rap now. And I mean it should. It's a weird fucking city. It is. It was like this normal sort of suburb when I was younger, and I mean normal's still a stretch, but now there's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of violence, especially in certain areas around Mariner High School or Jackson High School. Yeah. And but I had a really tight knit group of friends, and it felt like because I've always been super insecure about everything, my looks, the way I dress, my financial situation, and nobody at View Ridge, my elementary school, gave a shit about that. and I was devastated when my parents were getting divorced and I had to move. And
To Seattle.
Yeah, to Seattle. So in 2006, in the summer is when I moved. So after second grade, going to third grade, and right up the road from here, John Hay, and that was the beginning of me really realizing I had some problems. I moved here and it just was, I wasn't excited. I was devastated because, I'm a loyal dog. I stay loyal to my friends. But really, it was just so different. And I went to this daycare in the summer called Kids Co. that was at John Hay. And that alleviated it. Like, I met a lot of people that I'm still friends with now through them. And that definitely made it easier, but it was hard to transition because it felt like I was a fish out of water, especially in a wealthier neighborhood like Queen Anne.
Yeah.
There's a family structure almost, pretty much all my friends, married parents, they've been married for a long time, older than my parents. They've got at least 2 kids, maybe 3. No more than 3 usually. That's the thing. Like it's very cookie cutter. It's very
like nuclear.
Yeah, it's very consistent amongst that, and I just felt so out of place. People made fun of me for weird shit, like the way I dressed. Like, I guess it was really, that's the one that stood out to me. It was like, why do you care if I wear sporty attire every day?
People
like,
made fun of you for that?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't wear jeans until 7th grade.
I've worn
decided
jeans.
They were uncomfy. And so, I got made fun of, especially at McClure. I got made fun of that all the time.
Yeah, like, it was the weirdest shit because it was always something weird. And I mean, even our group to this day kind of, picks fun at each other for, just weird little quirks, I guess.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not bullying. Like, we all love each other. We're boys. We're just going to give each other shit. But I mean, especially when I was younger and people didn't understand mental health. And I think that was another thing. People had this weird, like, I don't want to say fear because that's a little too strong, but I mean, I would have breakdowns. I wouldn't get into fights. Usually I got suspended once when I was in 5th grade for trying to kick someone. But, I had a bad temper. I had, emotional issues. I was very prone to just being overcome with emotion. And until like 4th or 5th grade, that went untreated. And then, I got on antidepressants. And
in 5th grade?
Yeah, in 5th grade. It's just different because most of my friends were just so normal, so to speak.
Yeah.
That it was, I felt stigmatized. And I don't want to play this whole, it's this doom and gloom.
Dude, this is your story.
I know it's my story, but like, it's not, I don't want to seem like a victim. Like, it was tough, but it wasn't like, I'm not ungrateful for anything.
And I think part of what makes your story so compelling is that a lot of people have gone through similar things along the way. And so it's not that your life was so much harder than everyone else's. And, in some ways it was a lot more difficult than others, especially, someone like me who have 2 parents. But a lot of people, go through a lot of these same things, and it's very taboo to talk about. So
yeah,
I think
it's
really
extremely taboo. And I think the other thing was I always underperformed in school, and I had very high expectations of myself. I mean, my grades were okay in elementary school, okay in middle school. And I usually got by because I was, and I don't want to sound like I'm jacking myself off here, but, I was relatively intelligent, especially in elementary and middle school. I'd take honors classes, do decent in them. Tests were my shit, and that was what really kept me afloat for a long time until probably my junior year of high school. And I felt disappointed because my teachers would always be like, oh, man, like, you're so smart, you're gifted, like, you just need to put a little more work in. And it was hard because I'd go home to overtime, especially my single mom, or maybe my dad's fighting with her, and I didn't know what was going on, especially when I lived in Everett and in middle school. That's when my mom told me, like, my dad had a drug addiction that he was dealing with. Wow. And there was a couple instances where she got DUIs for being under the influence. I'm not gonna air out my mom like that. Sure. But it was not a safe environment for a child.
Yeah.
And that gave me some perspective. Like, that explains a lot of why I'm so different. Because even the way that I acted, like, nothing has ever felt natural to me. Everything I've ever done in a social sense feels like everyone else knows what they're doing. And I am just, like, lost in kind of guessing all the time. And, I mean, I know everyone, to an extent, feels that way. But when you're so anxious, when you're depressed, you beat the shit out of yourself mentally for it. You can't give yourself any credit.
Yeah.
It's hard to actually see people caring about you. It's hard to see the support that you have, and that's something I've been especially grateful for over the last couple of years. I think a lot of people, especially now with the rise of social media, are tied into their followers, how many likes their images get. And I was like that. If anyone watching this stream or anyone watching this on YouTube knew me in middle school, I was such a little attention whore when it came to like Facebook. I'd go on there and I'd type out all these rant statuses about what made me angry.
Funny as hell.
I'm not saying I wasn't funny. They were funny as shit. They were some good statuses, but it was therapeutic, and as time went on, and that became outdated, and people were more into petty high school drama, going to parties, like shit like that. I sort of fell out, and I feel like I fell behind as well. My friends started driving, getting jobs, and I just never felt comfortable doing any of that shit. Not comfortable, but I felt like I couldn't do it, and it really caught up to me eventually. And my junior year of high school, I was in a couple classes I probably shouldn't have taken. I took AP US History, and it's not because they were too mentally taxing, but they were definitely there was too much work. I've always had an issue with going home and doing schoolwork, because I would just get home and just get on Xbox or go to sleep and just be like, whatever, fuck it, I'm done with today. Yeah. I don't want to deal with school. I don't want to think about it. And that's a diva-ish way to look at it. I think I definitely could have done a lot better, but it's in the past is in the past. But I remember in March of 2015, so our junior year, I wanted to transfer, and there was this list of demands where it's you need to list 5 demands and give them to your principal, and if they don't meet any of those 5s, then you're able to transfer in the middle of the year, because I was done with it. I wanted a fresh start. It wasn't really the people there. It was kind of the teachers. I had a lot of teacher beef junior year. Fuck Miss Story, man. She was.
You heard it here first on the kids' table.
Yeah, no, I backed that up.
Man,
she's not a fan of me.
I had we had a book club or book report sort of thing, and it was right after Thanksgiving, and I told her I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. My family's having Thanksgiving in Montana, and she's like, well, can you reschedule that trip? I'm like, can you reschedule Thanksgiving, Kristen?
I'll change the.
She didn't know my name.
Date.
She didn't know my fucking name until December. She gave me a pass once to go to the library, and it just said Trent on it, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Wow. Yeah, no, she's not a big fan of me at all.
Yeah,
I never had her, but any interaction I had with her, I can totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah. And that's not to say that she's bad at her job or anything like that. It's not personal.
No, you don't have to say that. I'll say that.
She was disorganized again, because the one thing I'll give her, she enjoyed being a teacher, and that's one of those things where if you have a teacher like Mr. Calderwood, for instance, where he's fuck it, do whatever you want, you're like, dude, teaching this class doesn't even give a shit. Why should I turn in this paper?
Yeah.
No, the thing is, I had him. I actually gave a shit about that class.
I didn't, but I didn't give a shit about many classes.
When the teachers just were like, we're gonna do this and this and this today. We have to get all this done. If you need help, come after class. And I'm like, wait, you can't get this all done in class. And if I want an A, I have to come in after class to do it all. And then people call you a great teacher for caring about after class. Personally, for me, it was like, okay, if we can't get this done in class, how about we do it in, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, fuck any teacher that makes a curriculum with, where you need to have an equal amount of time doing stuff out of class
and
in class.
And that's what fucked with me, especially with A-Push. And there was such a distinct difference between Miss McCardle and I can't remember the other. Miss Herring.
That's what I had.
Where it was, Miss McCardle was, do all this shit in class, come back with your study guide. And the other thing was everybody fucking cheated, but I wasn't in that group, so I didn't cheat.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And I wanted to cheat because I wanted the credit. I didn't want to do well on AP.
Great. I'm a big fan of cheating for sure.
Yeah, cheating's the best.
Okay, when you put it that way. Yeah. But I wanted to get in with with what we were doing, but I don't want to put in all the work, and it felt unfair to me where it's these people that genuinely those real tryhards are just fucking helping each other. I felt real alone, real vulnerable, but it was a lot to fucking deal with. Miss McCardle, and I mean this in a oddly endearing way. She was a bitch, and I mean in a funny way. That was her reputation. She was very honest. She was ruthless in a sense. She'd get on her students, And, you know, I also was always, you know, the class clown. I'd make fun of everyone or everything. Like, I never took myself seriously. And so that's why it was also hard for me to be like, listen, I have a problem, you know. Yeah. Because, no, like, I never took myself seriously. And to this day, I still really don't. But, you know, in March, my mom and I got into a huge argument. And I was just like, listen, I'm not going back to Ballard this year. I can't. I'm done this year. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do next year. I'll try to get all my credits back and graduate on time. If not, we'll go from there. Yeah. That was disappointing to me because, you know, it seemed like such formality that everyone that I felt like I could do better than in school was just easily graduating. Everyone was doing that. And then not graduating because I was like 2 credits behind. That killed me for a long time. Yeah. Because I went to Shoreline and they had this program and I got my GED. You know, I killed that shit. I went in there, and I know even the people there were like, "You are like one of the best people we've had come through here." And it's like I appreciate that. Like I appreciate that you're really jerking me off here. You're really stroking my ego. But it was disappointing for me because I felt like I shouldn't have needed to be in that position anyway. Mm-hmm. And I also think that ties in with I should be fine doing whatever the fuck I'm doing. If I don't do it the way everyone else does it or in the time everyone else does it, that shouldn't matter to me. But I don't know. It's hard for me to not compare myself to other people and see where I'm at and just be disappointed. Yeah. And that time period was just fucking. I don't want to say brutal, but I was very disappointed in myself. Yeah. You know, because when I was young, especially when everyone's young, you have these big dreams. You have this beautiful view of the world. You're so innocent. Yeah. And I always thought like, oh, I want to grow up. I want to go to UW. I want to go to a good school. And then as soon as like 8th grade, it's like, you know, fuck school. Like, yeah. And I don't mean that in a, you know, school should be abolished kind of way, but it was just the repetitiveness, the mental strain, and how long everything takes, it felt like. With, you know, I've got a friend, James Overly, he goes to Shoreline, and he works his ass off. He's an engineering student, and he does like 8 hours of homework a day, and it's hard for me to get really invested in something if I'm not, or involved in something if I'm not super emotionally invested. Sure. And that's something I've started going to a therapist recently, and she was like, yeah, that's an ADHD sort of thing where you're not really pushed by things unless they're like, I forget, there were 4 words that she used for it. I can't remember any of them. But pretty much, unless they really interest you, unless it's something that you find interesting yourself, they challenge you in a good way that's like actually rewarding and not just an impossible sort of challenge. I remember novelty was one of them, sort of, you know, thinking outside the box, because I've tried to be as unconventional as possible. And I forget what the 4th one was.
Wait, those are ADHD
See, okay,
things?
yeah, so...
That just sounds like human things.
That's what you would think, but I mean, it's...
No, that is what I think, and I completely disagree with that. I've heard that same sort of thing.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it's ADD.
I don't
think it's ADHD.
I mean, I still don't really, but my therapist has... And I think the point is, it's human nature, but it is significantly harder for people to just say, you know, overcome those things. Yeah. Well, it's a motivation thing more than it's those things. It's, you know, people without ADHD, and this is what my therapist said. You know, she's not a doctor, and you know, this was news to me.
She's a licensed therapist.
Yeah, but she was saying that it is significantly harder for you to just like, you know, put your nose down and get shit done unless it really interests you. Whereas, you know, I forget the therapist-y term she used for it, like...
Yeah, well, you're very, like, internally motivated. The things you care about, you're going to try hard in. And a lot of people are kind of externally motivated. You know, exactly. They want to do... They're very motivated to do the things society expects of them, or their family expects of them. And when you give them these sort of external incentives, they're able to respond to that very easily. But if you just you care very deeply and intensely about the things you care about, you know, and you have some, you know, ADHD or some concentration sort of challenges as well, I can definitely see how it's very hard to sort of shift that mindset and try to focus on something just because you're told you should focus on it.
I don't think you should switch it. I think with that, I mean, I go through similar things. I hate doing things that I don't want to do. I don't do things that I don't want to do.
Exactly.
And I'm told by society or whatever, society's not a person, they can't really tell you anything, but you hear things around, and it's bad, as you said, your therapist basically said, it's bad to only want to do things that you're really passionate about and really want to do, when it's a good thing, in my opinion, if you find something you're really passionate about and really want to do, that's an amazing thing to have.
Exactly. And
because you will do things better if you're passionate about them than somebody who is externally motivated, as you say.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like that sort of jack of all trades thing.
Yeah.
If you do everything evenly, like if you're told you're supposed to do it and you do all those things evenly, you're going to be okay.
At a lot of
But
things.
if you really want to do something, you should focus. You should find what you really want to do.
Exactly. And that's the hard part.
Which could take 50 years. It's also a patience thing.
That's the key there.
And then you just really need, and if you are incredibly passionate about something, if you do really want to do something and you find a way to get to what you want to do and you're able to do it, you're gonna be the best at it.
Yeah, and that's how I viewed it in the past, where it's
but you
the
don't
difficulty.
view it that way now. You said that's how you.
I don't, and that's because I haven't found something that I'm intensely passionate about.
Okay.
It's been really hard for me to figure out what to do in the time until I find my calling or whatever you want to say. And and the other thing is, everyone around you, it seems they have this plan, like, oh, I'm gonna go to the 4-year school, I'm gonna go to community college, I'm gonna get my AA, I'm gonna get my bachelor's degree, whatever the fuck. And that was just never, as soon as I turned maybe 14, 15, I just was never really into it. I felt like if I did it, it would be going through the motions, and I'd end up being lethargic. I didn't think that would happen when I was 16, 17. And yeah, I mean, that's what she said. She was like, you need to find something that is that you love and that drives you. But it's been difficult. And I think the other thing is, with depression, you're fucking, you're negative a lot. And that's something I've tried to work on.
It's hard to find a passion when you're struggling with mental health.
Yeah.
I think it's really good that he's here, because I think something that I'm getting out of this, I didn't really know you that well in high school. Like, we were like friendly, but we weren't friends, I would say. From the outside looking in, like, I was always like super jealous of you. I was always like, man, like, he's like hanging out with all these kids that like I wish I could hang out with. Like, he's really good at sports. Like, everyone likes him. He's so funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he makes everyone laugh in class. I mean, I had a bunch of classes with you, and it's really good, I think, for people to hear this, because just because you might not be showing these things externally, at least for a really long time, that doesn't mean these problems don't exist.
Yeah. And I think that was the toughest part for me, like around when I was supposed to graduate, or I guess when you guys graduated in like June. I remember I penned this really cheesy ass sort of like iPhone notes thing where I was like, thank you everyone who's like supported me over the years. Like, I've kept it internal. You've seen me around. You've seen me be this guy that comes into class, just doesn't shut the fuck up. He jokes. He doesn't take school very seriously. But it wasn't because I ever thought, I'm too cool for school.
Yeah.
This isn't like I'm too good for this school.
Yeah.
It was just, and I don't know how to put this in a not like emo way, but it was just sort of to mask like how much I hated being a
Sure.
Just,
like,
it was a way to get through the day.
It was.
Yeah.
It was absolutely something that made going to school worth it. And I mean, a couple of my friends and I have talked about things that happened in like middle school.
Yeah.
And it is, people took middle school so fucking seriously. Like, some of them, like,
I remember that.
and not like they took themselves seriously, but they took the academia really seriously. They really were committed to doing everything.
I need a 4.0.
Yeah. And, I went in there and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, it's middle school. We're 14, we're 15. This won't really affect us. We did some dumb shit. But, looking back on it, it's all fun. And that's what made, going through the motions of school worth it. I'm never going to look back at middle school and high school and be like, thank God I took
AP
regular
Worlds.
English
Yeah.
sophomore year. I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, for me, it's like when I was like early in high school and middle school, I was pretty focused on grades and stuff. But then later and then after high school, I kind of looked back and I was like, man, none of the things I did in class really mattered at all. It's good that I know how to read something and analyze it a little deeper than the words that are there. That can help just with anything in life, even just in conversation, reading what somebody's saying. But I think school is way more important for interacting with people.
Absolutely.
I think the only reason you go to high school, I think, is to go to high school, to go to an assembly, see what that's like, to hang out with people in the lunchroom, to maybe go to a party if that's what you're into, find a club if you're not into parties, whatever. I think that those things, that I grew so much more from the people and learned so much more from just the interactions I had with the interactions I had from people than what the teachers were teaching in the classrooms.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, that's one of those arguments where it's like, oh, when are we going to learn this? And I'm grateful for all the things that I've learned throughout school, but I think you really hit the nail on the head there.
Well, I fucking hate when people say shit like, when are we gonna learn to do taxes? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Google it.
Cannot be that hard.
Use TurboTax. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Dude, I
got all
used
these
TurboTax for the first time like a year ago, and I was like, whoa, like this is crazy easy.
Look at the form,
Yeah.
plug some things in, hit a couple buttons, boom, it's gonna be in your bank account in a month.
Yeah.
And that's what people say
Or
when
you have to
they're-
pay.
Or you,
Yeah.
when they're upset about school. When a lot of people that think that they're too good for school say that shit. And I was one of those people when I was younger, like maybe 7th, 8th grade freshman. Like I was one of those fucking edgy assholes that was like, why are we learning this, teacher? Fucking bitch. Like, come on, Miss Powers, why are we talking about
we all that class together. You don't know anything, person who's lived for 50 years more than me.
I know more
What do
than
you know?
I figured out the world.
I
I'm
mean,
12.
I've been
We don't
here
need
for
to- we need to kill
12
a
years,
mockingbird.
bro. If there was like something, I'm gonna kind of move it along here because I'm trying to keep it under an hour, and we're at 46 minutes. If there's one thing that like you would want to tell someone kind of listening in who might be feeling something a little similarly, what would that be? Is there anything?
Oh yeah, there's I think a couple things.
Drop some bombs.
Oh, first bomb, reach out.
Reach out.
Yeah.
It's fucking hard because you don't want to be a burden on people, and if it's people you love, you're not going to be a burden on them, but you need to reach out to people if you're really feeling shitty, if you're feeling like you're worthless, or any if you're feeling negative, like it's good to reach out. Don't be that guy that every single day brings a negative sort of energy to your friends, like, oh, I hate the world, I hate everything, because then people aren't going to want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But making sure you have a group of supportive people is integral to your health, I think, especially when you have shitty mental health. And the other thing is just believe in yourself. It's cheesy, but it's something I struggle with too.
Yeah.
But if you actually, believe in yourself and you do what's right for you, you're going to feel a lot better than if you do what's right for society or for other people. And that's been one of my things. I've tried to be as selfless as possible in the past. I've tried to, help other people if I couldn't help myself. And I think I would have been better suited, if 5-10 years ago, maybe not 10, but 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would have sought help for myself and really been like, listen, I need to be selfish. I need to do what I want to do, because I don't know if this is a depression thing, but a lot of people feel like I can't help myself. I feel like shit. What can I do to make other people not feel this way? Mm-hmm. And you got to pay attention to yourself.
Wow.
You really got to make sure that you're keeping your best interest in mind, because that's how shit gets worse, when you are completely oblivious to your personal needs and you just kind of sweep them under the rug and you go around doing shit for other people all the time.
Yeah.
It's gratifying to help other people, but it's not healthy. It's not sustainable if you don't
You're like
care about
essentially
yourself.
living through someone else. Yeah, I've heard about that. My mom says that's a lot. My mom's a therapist, and she's says one of the key things that like people often do when they're depressed is they'll like be super present, and they'll like spend a lot of money and time like trying to help someone else get better instead of focusing on their own mental health.
Yeah, because it's very easy to solve problems when your emotions aren't involved.
Yeah.
And so when you see someone else struggling with something, you can sometimes make those easy fixes that you can't see when it's yourself. So.
Nice.
Yeah, well, it's not like a therapist has never killed themselves.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I mean, there's that classic line. A lot of the times, therapists are more mentally damaged than their patients.
Well, exactly, because if they're
I'm
trying
sure
to
is
help
true
people,
sometimes.
it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You're trying to fix other people's problems instead of addressing your own.
But also, they may have that expertise into that state of mind.
Well, as
sure.
a kid whose mom was a therapist, I have had 50 bajillion diagnoses. Like, oh, like you're rebelling right now. You're suffering from this crazy technical term. And I'm like, I don't think so, but maybe. Like,
I'm 12. I'm just angsty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm just horny. Like,
Pretty sure I'm just a child.
yeah. Sweet. I think this is really good. Tell your friend. Do you want to give a shout out to some friends? I know you have like a great supporting cast, and also tell them why they would subscribe to the Kids Table.
Well, first of all, this is a great experience. You guys should all subscribe. This is gonna go strong. I can guarantee you guys that. I'm sorry.
You're not this camera.
There's cameras there.
This camera. Oh fuck. This camera. This camera.
All right. Well, let me shout out my boys. We got Anjay, Chris, James.
Yeah, Chris is in the chat right now.
Shout out Chris.
What up,
Shout
Chris?
out Chris.
Jack Lund, Jack McLeod, Chase Jacobson, everyone in Vines and Memes, best group chat in the history of the world. Owen Leonard,
Nice.
Danny Allen actually for my birthday.
Big shout out to Danny.
Big
You
shout
should
out
have
to
Danny on the show. at some
Love to
point.
have Danny on the show.
I had one of those like Facebook fundraisers for my birthday, and he was the only person to donate. I didn't like share it or anything. It was just like it popped up, so I wasn't like disappointed. I didn't expect much, but he's been super supportive.
Nice.
And then I got a couple female friends that are close to me: Jamie Valenta, Cassie Kruger, Tess Rhea, Hope Westling, Tia Petrova.
Dude, Hope's dope. I
You
know her.
I
know
love
her.
Hope, dude. Last night, one of my friends bailed on me, and her and a couple of her friends came over to my house, and it was fucking awesome.
Hell
She's
yeah.
so awesome.
Nice.
Kelly Teagarden, we go way back, one of my best friends. And lastly, my day one, my friend that I've known since the day I was born, Colton Phelps.
Nice.
Go way back.
All right, Trey. Well, thank you so much for
Of
coming
course,
on.
of
I'd love
course.
to have you on for future episodes.
Absolutely.
Maybe talk about some less mental health stuff and
course.
like sports and just kind of. I love your energy, and I think it's really funny and really explosive, and I love how you interact with all of us. Thanks, guys, for tuning into the most recent episode of the Kids Table, and we'll catch you next time.